Our story today is all about a sheep. Once upon a time there was a sheep. And this sheep lived in a lovely farm with all her sheep friends and with a farmer that looked after her really well. She always had plenty to eat. In fact, she always had the same thing to eat. She had lots and lots of grass. And sometimes, although she really loved grass and she really loved being with her friends in the field, she got a bit bored. She sometimes liked to have a bit of an adventure. So she would look out for a hole in the fence, or for maybe a bit of the fence that had got trampled down. And if she ever saw a way to get out of her field, she would either crawl underneath or jump over it. One day, she saw that the fence had been trampled down a bit, so she jumped over the fence and she said, "I'm off for an adventure." She made her way up the hill and then down the hill until she came to a place she'd never been before. She came to the Boggy Loch. Now, the Boggy Loch was a part of the farm that nobody ever really went, because if you walked in the Boggy Loch, you would find it was very sticky for your wellies. It was squelchy and squashy and squidgy. But the sheep didn't know that. She just wanted to have an adventure. So she jumped right into the Boggy Loch. And when she tried to go forward, she found that her feet were stuck. She couldn't move her legs at all to go forward. Oh, she was stuck. So she started to call for help. Meh, ba, meh, ba, meh. And the farmer, who had started to wonder where the sheep might be, heard the sound and came running to see that she was all right. When he got to the Boggy Loch and he saw where she was, he knew that if he went right into the squidgy, squelchy squashiness, he would get stuck in his boots. He had to find a way to reach the sheep without getting stuck in the mud himself. So he decided he would take off his jacket and he laid it down on the ground. He lay on the jacket and he reached as far as he could to try and get the tail of the sheep, but he couldn't reach. So he had to take off his jumper and he laid that down in front of his jacket a little bit closer to the sheep, but he still couldn't reach it. Then he took off his t-shirt and he lay down on top of all these clothes and reached and reached and reached until he had the end of the sheep's tail in his hand. And he pulled and he pulled and he pulled until the sheep went flying in the air and landed on her back. When she went flying through the air, she managed to bring a lot of squidgy, squashy, squelchy mud with her. The poor farmer was covered in mud. And when he stood up, his clothes, when he lifted them up, they were all covered in mud. And the sheep, well, she was definitely covered in mud. He took the sheep back to the field. He made sure that she couldn't get out. And he went home to have a nice, long bath. And the sheep, well, she was quite glad to be back in her field with her friends and was happy to stay there for a wee while until it was time for another adventure. And that's the story about the sheep.